This is KTVK in Phoenix with Arizona's Total News. And now, with all tonight's news from the Great Southwest, here is Dave Nichols with Evelyn Thompson, Jim Howl with weather, Jim Jeffrey with sports. Now, Total News tonight.
Good evening. The military takeover of a research facility at Rocky Point, Mexico, has forced University of Arizona researchers back home. The station is operated jointly by the University of Arizona and the University of Sonora. The two schools apparently became embroiled in the controversy after Mexican officials were angered when U of A staffers shipped out 150,000 shrimp. Some of the Rocky Point shrimp have made their way to Phoenix, where they're being served up every night at local restaurants. Dan Davis reports from the Nantucket Lobster Trap.
Evie, these are just a few of the shrimp that have been developed, born, and bred at that experimental station in Rocky Point. Their hometown is a $7 million plant where Mexican and American researchers have been working 8 years to develop and cheaply farm one of the most expensive items on the menu. It was the shipment of 150,000 shrimp that apparently prompted Mexican officials to send for the troops. Carl Hodges of the U of A was at the station yesterday, and today at a Tucson press conference, he explained what happened.
I think originally there were about 8 of these fellows arrived with guns and the whole bit, and they stationed themselves around the plant, and they were very courteous, very nice. Nobody's threatening anyone, but they will not allow you to leave the plant with anything. You can come and go, you can take things in, but you cannot leave with any equipment or any shrimp or anything like this.
Now tonight, our sources in Sonora have told us exclusively that the troops were withdrawn from that facility sometime today, but we've been unable to officially confirm that information. With me now is Gordon Heiss, who's the president here at the restaurant. Gordon, if the shrimp are so precious and it's caused such a controversy, how did you manage to get them up here?
We're part of the marketing research program. They not only have to raise the shrimp, but after they're raised, they have to learn how to market them, and we're part of that.
So you don't expect any trouble?
I don't think our source will dry up.
Okay, how about the reaction of the public? Do they like the shrimp?
Oh, they love them. They're so much tastier and so much firmer.
Okay. So Dave and Evie, we'll continue to follow the controversy of the Great Shrimp War. In the meantime, we'll hope that things get resolved down there, because based on our research, we're doing a pretty good job.
Must be nice. Governor Bruce Babbitt is at a meeting of United States and Mexican border governors in El Paso, and he says, as far as he's concerned, the matter of the shrimp can best be handled by the presidents of both universities.
A 2-alarm fire at a plastic shop destroys 2 businesses in East Phoenix today. An explosion at the shop touched off the fire. Al Macias was there and filed this report.
The blast shortly before noon bowed the walls and lifted the roof off the American Bathtub Liners building. Thousands of pounds of flammable materials used for the liners were inside and provided plenty of fuel for the fire.
And then it just seemed like it just all erupted at once. And it just kept crackling and popping and banging, and well, you know what happened. It just went so fast, nobody could control it.
Before firemen could control the blaze, several nearby homes were threatened. Owners and passers-by hosed down fences and yards with garden hoses to keep the flames away. Then fire crews took over. Gary Reeves was in the building when the fire started. It was his second day on the job.
I looked around for a fire hydrant, and then, you know, I looked back over, and it was going back up into the ceiling, so I just thought, get out. So I got out and went next door and called the fire department.
It took firefighters nearly an hour to control the fire, but finally they did. The blaze had destroyed the shop, and the 110-degree heat had taken its toll of the firefighters, but no one was injured. Al Macias, TV3 Total News.
Investigators estimate the damages to be about $275,000.
Well, the president's last port of call on his extended trip to Europe was a 6-hour stopover today in Lisbon, Portugal. The main purpose was to demonstrate United States support for that country's recent change from dictatorship to a democratically elected government. Not only did the president meet with leaders of the party in power, but also the head of the opposition party. The Carters even went sightseeing and shopping, and they were treated to some local folk dancing. In his speeches and comments today, the president again criticized the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, and he thanked the Portuguese for their early and firm support for the release of the American hostages held in Iran.
ABC News has learned that the U.S. is preparing to transport large quantities of military equipment and supplies to Thailand to help that nation fend off Vietnamese troops invading their border from Cambodia. Tanks, aircraft, and artillery will be included in the consignment to be delivered by huge American cargo planes. There has been a lull in the border fighting for the past 2 days, but Thai Army commanders report that the Vietnamese are moving up 10,000 fresh troops for an expected new push.
The House voted today to give final congressional approval to a $20 billion synthetic fuels program. The vote was 317 to 93. The legislation is a key part of President Carter's energy plan to reduce U.S. dependency on foreign oil. It's been under congressional consideration for 1 full year, and the president is almost certain to sign it on his return to the Oval Office.
It now seems inevitable that Americans will receive a tax cut. The only questions are how much and how soon. Ronald Reagan called for a $20 billion tax reduction yesterday, which immediately inspired Republican lawmakers to press for it quickly. Not to be outdone in this election year, Capitol Hill Democrats summoned the media today to announce what they called a responsible tax cut of at least $20 billion.
The Democratic approach is fundamentally different from a simple salmon, tinker toy economic solution, which would attempt to write tax policy on the Senate floor without benefit of hearings or committee action.
However, it appears the Democrats are about as vague as the Republicans on how to make up the revenue lost by a tax reduction, but they did appoint a committee to study the matter and promised to come up with a plan by Labor Day.
Here at home, the Heisler Amendment, sometimes called Arizona's clone of Proposition 13, isn't officially on the November ballot yet. A group has formed to oppose Heisler. Don Eklund, former president of the Arizona Education Association, is now president of a group called Citizens for Responsible Public Finance. Support for the anti-Heisler group comes mostly from publicly financed groups like educators, government employees, fire and police. Eklund charges that the Heisler Amendment could cut money for public services in half. He says that would be disastrous.
Also perpetrates a fraud on the people of Arizona. Individual homeowners have been deluded into thinking that the Heisler Initiative holds out the promise of large tax cuts. In actuality, it will prove a bonanza in tax savings for mines and utilities while affording relatively little benefit to the individual homeowners.
Eklund says since voters passed 10 tax cut measures early in June, Arizona doesn't need a clone of California's Proposition 13.
32 members of Hell's Angels motorcycle gang on trial in San Francisco. Are they organized crime figures? A trial report when Total News continues.
We've stopped here at Leon's to give you a first-hand report on this heavy traffic. It must be the incredible prices. Look at this super special. A luxury lane-action wall-saver recliner covered in a long-wearing DuPont Antron nylon velvet in classic styling. Super special priced at $296.40. See this super special at Leon's, Arizona's most beautiful furniture warehouse and showroom. This concludes our report on the incredible prices at Leon's in Tempe.
Leon's Furniture Warehouse and Showroom.
Look what's new from Kraft, a la carte entrees. Delicious pre-cooked single servings catered by Kraft. Since they're not frozen, they're ready to serve in just 5 minutes. Kraft's secret is in this revolutionary foil pouch, where tender lean meats, fresh vegetables, and special sauces are cooked to perfection with no preservatives. New a la carte entrees. Delicious main dishes in just 5 minutes from Kraft.
I review TV in theatre, but I can't watch TV when I'm at the theatre. So I use JVC's 6-hour programmable video recorder. I can record 42 shows a week, for video heads give me a clear picture. I get slow motion, stop action, fast forward, and with remote control, JVC gives me what a critic so richly deserves. The best seat in the house.
See the HR 6700 at your JVC dealer today.
you drinking? It's the good time taste of Barks.
Cold, refreshing Barks root beer makes every good time even better. When you work up a thirst skating, hiking, walking, or talking, refresh yourself with the good time taste of ice-cold Barks root beer. It makes the good times better.
Hey, what you drinking? It's the good time taste of Barks root beer.
One of the most complex criminal trials in American history is underway in San Francisco. The defendants are all members of the Hells Angel motorcycle gang, but the real contest is over the government's RICO law, or Racketeer Influence Corrupt Organization statute. That's a new law designed to give federal law enforcement officials new powers in investigating and acting against organized crime. The San Francisco test case against the Hells Angels is entering its 8th month. The judge hearing the case at one point collapsed on the bench from apparent exhaustion. Court costs are expected to run into the millions, and the Hells Angels are doing a brisk business selling defense fund t-shirts right outside the courtroom. It hit 110 after lots and lots of time. Yes.
Not only hottest here, hottest in a lot of parts of the country today. And I wrote down just a few little helpful hints that I hope will make some of you a little cooler this summer. These are just some helpful hints a lot of you may not know. Never go outdoors, number one. Move to Alaska and conduct all your business here by phone, something you may not have thought of. Buy a pair of air-conditioned sunglasses, little item that, you know, a lot of us don't have. Sunbathe in an underground parking lot. It's a possibility. Or take frequent baths in frozen yogurt. Just a few little hints that you may help. We'll have some more next week. But we had some moisture move into the state today, and you can probably see some cloudiness. Haven't seen that in a while. It was a very high level, though. Humidity at the surface was still 6 and 7% most of the day, and that will moisten up in the next couple of weeks and get kind of muggy. 110, Sky Harbor, Sun City, Youngtown, 112, Carefree, 108. Record high of the date, 116, 1979. Sun rising tomorrow at 5:20 at 10 o'clock, 98, 13% humid. West winds at 5. And a rising barometer 2984. You thought we had it hot here. Casa Grande, or Casa Grande, Arizona, 117 degrees. Hot spot in the nation. This is cooler air up in the northern plains. As a matter of fact, 69 in Bismarck today, and as this cold air in the front is meeting the warm air, some violent thunderstorms. Cherry Creek, South Dakota, tennis ball size hail. Some tornado watches in effect there tonight. But that's right. Tennis ball size hail. Farther south, you can see the hot, hot weather that is persisting throughout the southern plains. North Platte, 101. This is Wichita, 109. Oklahoma City, 102. And all-time record high in Dallas-Fort Worth, 113 today. That broke a record back in 1909 when they had 112. 101 in Houston. Showers throughout the Gulf Coast region up throughout North Carolina and Virginia. Let's take a look at our miniature satellite. We haven't seen him in a while. I'll show you some of the more. Okay, you can see some of the moisture coming up from Mexico down there. That should be... Pardon me. Can I do this? No, get out of here. You have your own maxi satellite. This is the mini. Let me do this. Geez, you know, everybody wants to get in there. Here's the moisture I'm talking about right here. You can see it streaming up throughout the Gulf of California and also the Southern California area. And we will get some increased humidities, as I keep saying, the next week or so. And by July 4th, we should start to see some monsoon effects in the central Arizona region. That's around Phoenix with some dust storms. Gila Bend, 114. Coolidge, 115. No showers today. Casa Grande, once again, 117. Hot spot in the country. Tonight, for Phoenix and vicinity, our forecast, fair and warm, overnight low 80. Here's the extended outlook. Sunny and hot. Saturday, maybe a little bit cooler, 108, but 110 again tomorrow.
In other words, just keep fanning yourself.
That's it.
Okay, thank you, Jim. A row of vacant houses burned to the ground tonight in South Phoenix. Firemen say the buildings were fully engulfed in flames when they arrived, and so they concentrated their efforts on protecting neighboring buildings. Cause of the blaze is not known at this hour, but firemen say they strongly suspect arson. Although the buildings were destroyed, firemen report there were no injuries. A man changes colors right before your eyes, a trick or something in the camera. Decide for yourself when Total News continues.
Some Lincoln owners think of the shorter, lighter 1980 Lincoln Continental.
Even though it's shorter and lighter, it still rides like a incredible luxury vehicle.
It gets excellent economy and it has the size that I need.
Doing great. Highway mileage is fantastic.
Smaller size for better mileage, less weight for better mileage, automatic overdrive for better highway mileage. And now, direct from Lincoln Mercury Division, a $1,000 cash rebate on the purchase or lease of any new Lincoln Continental, Continental Mark, or Lincoln Versailles.
Start with a true 3.5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton engine with easy pull-and-go start. Add a 20-inch vacuum action steel deck, instant action height adjusters, handle throttle control, easy to maneuver rear bagging, and you have Montgomery Ward's rear discharge lawnmower, now just $188. Or get all this plus self-propelled action for just $228 at your lawnmower headquarters, Montgomery Ward.
I'd like to let you in on a well-kept secret. Bill King's Braco is in the front-end alignment business. We didn't want to tell you until we knew we were the best. Only certified technicians perform precision front-end alignments. Proper alignment is just as important as good brakes. Save your expensive tires and front-end parts with a precision alignment at Bill King's Braco. We don't sell tires, we save them.
At Salt River Project, the cost of producing electricity keeps rising, so your electric bills keep rising. But if you conserve energy, your energy cost will go up more slowly and stay more manageable. To help control your electric bills, learn to control your electric meter. For example, use major appliances when it's cooler, early in the morning and late at night. For more tips, get your free copy of our Power Saver Diet Book just by calling SRP. Be a meter reader. You can't afford not to be.
He claimed he had a cure for cancer and heart disease. He even advertised for patients. Our Ed Bradford